Hi, it's officially week 17 in my weight loss journey. I think last week I had said 14 or 15, and I was mistaken because I'm looking at my calendar right now, and this week I hit 290. I am surprised because I didn't really expect that I would go down that far. However, the other thing is it's still surreal getting my head around this actual new weight. But I'm happy. I'm feeling fabulous. Now, today I was at it's Bringing Your Magnificence. It's kind of it was a workshop about being an unstoppable you in a positive way. So it was really good, but one of the things that was mentioned was someone else's story about when some major changes happened in their life. And when I look back from when I was a kid, I used to be, sorry, if you hear noise, there's a snowplow working outside right now, and my cat was just over there clawing her scratch post. Anyway, one of the things that when I look back at my younger years, now I'm only 46 now, but when I was younger, I used to be very negative. People hated to be around me, and I may have mentioned that before. It was everything was wrong in my thinking. I mean, that's primarily what today's workshop was about, was the thinking, and my thinking has drastically improved, but everything was wrong in my thinking. I was all about being, I don't know, unhappy with my life. Not that it wasn't about being that way. That wasn't my intention. It just was the way my thinking was. You know, kind of like when you're a kid, and, your pimple on your face here, or you're, you got a few extra pounds, or, everybody's going to hate you because you look like this, or your hair is wrong, or whatever. And I spent many of my teenage years comparing myself to others. I mean, I hung around with a group of 4 girls. One was referred to as a model, one was referred to as the bodyguard, one was referred to as the mouth or the lawyer of the group, and I was the neutralizer. That's an odd name to give someone, but when things got a little bit awry, when things got a little bit too excited in the group, I would just be the one that would throw that odd question out there that would kind of bring everybody down, bring everybody to a different place than where they might have been. And it's just a natural talent that I have. But, so that was then, but I was also the saddest person on the planet. I was abused quite a bit when I was young, and that abuse kind of set in motion certain characteristics of how I felt about myself, how I thought about myself. And it's not something that I decided to cling to. I hit a point in my life where I didn't want to think that way anymore. But the first thing I had to do was decide to stop being a victim. I needed to stop allowing the people who hurt me to victimize my life any further. And I did that in stages. It doesn't happen all at once with every single person that's ever hurt you in your life, but it started off with the major people in my life, and then it worked on later on to people who was still affecting my life but weren't so major. Like, something that an old friend said to me in high school, those words echoing in my brain, and how I wasn't going to let them have any influence on me anymore. It was just one random conversation, and I had somehow adapted those words into other things in my life. At that time, I had smoked, and it was about me having no willpower to quit smoking. Eventually, I adapted that into, me not having any willpower to do anything. So it was something that changed. But getting back to the point about when there was a major change in my life, a major change, would have been about 6 years ago. And I don't know what provoked me. My mom passed away in 1998, and she died of cancer. But my mom and I weren't the closest people in the world. We had a very fire and ice kind of relationship. Not that I was fighting with her. It was more me, I don't know, being yelled at by her, I guess. Anyway, everybody is the way they are for a reason, and over time you come to understand why people act the way they did based on their learning more about their own upbringing. But anyway, when it was the summertime that year, and about 6 years ago, and I had an opportunity. I was waiting to pick up my daughter from work, and I had an opportunity for some time, and I thought, well, I'm just going to drive to my mom's grave. I had not been there since my mom had passed away, and this would have been 12 years later. So I went to my mom's grave, and as I was getting closer, I was so full of anger. I can't tell you how many years I was full of anger and venom, and I had nothing good to say about my mother. In fact, I still to this day don't remember her ever saying I love you, but that's not that she didn't. She just never said it. Anyway, I was just full of a lot of anger and venom and hurt. Biggest thing would have been hurt. And as I drove closer to the grave, to the cemetery where she was, or where she is, I felt an outpouring of emotion I had not expected. After all, my daughter was 4 at the time that she passed away, and now I'm realizing how many years have passed and how much my mom had missed and how close her and my daughter had been when she was alive. And so many emotions, so many thoughts overpoured me. But when I was at the cemetery, I took the opportunity to just tell my mother everything about how I felt. It was kind of freeing because I knew she couldn't say anything back. Not that her old words didn't come back in my thought processes, but anyway, I said to her everything that had been plaguing my mind since her death. And it was freeing. It was out of my system. I was finally able to put words to it. Finally able to express everything I had needed to express. All the hurt, the anger, the rage. I said some pretty nasty things. But then I got to a point where it was finally just grief. It wasn't all those those were feelings that were built up for my whole lifetime. And then it got to the point where it was just grief, and she was gone, and all the things that she was missing, and all the things that had happened. And so I sat and I told her about things about my daughter and things about that had happened in her life and growing up. And after that, I suddenly didn't feel angry at her anymore. And that's when things really started to change for me. That's when I decided that I wasn't going to be trapped in that miserable life anymore. And so by starting with the freeing of me for my mom, and I had already done some healing or attempts at healing in the other areas of my life up to that point, but it wasn't until the major one, my mom, until that day, and I decided I didn't want to be miserable anymore. I was tired of loathing myself, tired of hating myself, and granted, it did not happen overnight. It was a huge undertaking to change or unlearn a lifetime of behaviors and taking to heart and bringing other people's words into my reality. The negative things people said about me and my character, that might have been their opinion, might have been the things that they said, but it was not my reality. So anyway, that was what this workshop reminded me of today, and how important it is to take hold of our thoughts, to control what we allow into our thoughts, to control the type of people we allow to influence our lives, and whether it be the people that, whether we allow people to hurt us, or, I was a victim, and I lived a victim mentality, feeling like I was trapped and there was no way out, and that was just the way my life was. It's not. It's not just the way your life is. You have the opportunity to change it. And that's what today's workshop reminded me of. And it made me happy. It made me happy that I have made the choice to control my thinking about myself and who I am, that I'm allowing myself to think positively about myself, that I'm allowing myself to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I really do like you. I really do appreciate you, and I love you. Sherry, I love you. And that's a good thing. And it's one thing I just want everyone else to understand. We have a choice on what we think, what we do, how we live, what we allow to influence us, whether it be what we read, what we watch, what we listen to. And the more uplifting what we allow into our lives, the more uplifted we are going to feel. The more uplifted we feel about ourselves, even if we have to fake it till we make it. But what was the other quote that somebody said today? Oh, I wish I could remember. Anyway, basically, just do it. Just say it. And eventually you will find that it becomes your reality. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got for this week. And I hope everybody's doing great. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye.